You're not stuck because you're lazy. You're stuck because you don't want to look stupid. That's it. That's the real reason. Not fear of failure, not lack of discipline, not waiting for the right time. You're terrified of being seen trying and not being impressive. So instead, you hide in preparation, in silence, in watching other people do the thing you keep telling yourself you'll do soon. And you've been calling that patience. Think about how many times you've held back a question because it felt obvious. How many times you knew you should speak, but waited for someone else to go first. How many ideas you've killed in your head before anyone else even had a chance to judge them. That hesitation isn't thoughtfulness, it's self-protection. Your brain has one main rule: don't embarrass yourself. It doesn't care if that rule costs you opportunities. It doesn't care if it keeps your life small. It doesn't care if you end up disappointed in yourself. Embarrassment feels like danger, so danger must be avoided. That's why your body reacts before your logic does. Before you can decide, your chest tightens. Your mind starts bargaining. Not now. Let me think more. I'll say it better later. Later never comes, because later would still involve risk. Here's the part you probably haven't noticed. You don't need confidence to act. You need permission to look bad, and you've never given yourself that. Somewhere along the way, being the smart one, or the capable one, or the one who has it together became part of your identity. So now every action feels like a test. Every attempt feels like a performance. Every mistake feels like proof that the image was a lie. That's why you overthink simple things. Why starting feels heavier than it should. Why you can explain ideas perfectly in your head, but freeze when it's time to express them. You're not afraid of the task. You're afraid of exposure. And exposure is terrifying when your self-worth depends on looking competent. Here's what makes this trap so effective. Staying quiet feels intelligent. Waiting feels strategic. Not trying feels safer than messing up. So your life fills up with almosts. Almost started. Almost said something. Almost took the chance. And from the outside, it looks like patience. From the inside, it feels like tension that never releases. Meanwhile, other people move forward. Not because they're smarter, but because they're willing to look foolish in public. They ask bad questions. They share unfinished thoughts. They start before they're ready. And every time they do, something shifts. Not overnight, not dramatically, but their nervous system learns something yours hasn't yet. That nothing terrible happens. No one remembers their awkward moment. No one rewinds their mistake over and over the way they do in their own head. And slowly, they stop hesitating. While you're still negotiating with fear. Here's the quiet damage this does. When you don't act, you don't just lose progress. You lose trust in yourself. You start noticing the gap between what you think you're capable of and what you actually do. You tell yourself you're just waiting, but deep down, you know you're avoiding. And avoidance has a cost. It shows up as frustration you can't explain, as irritation with people who are doing less but getting further, as a low-grade disappointment that follows you even on good days, because part of you knows the truth. You're not being held back by the world. You're being held back by the version of yourself you're trying to protect. The irony is brutal. The more you try to avoid looking stupid, the longer you stay inexperienced. And the longer you stay inexperienced, the scarier it feels to start. That's the loop, and no amount of thinking breaks it. Only action does. Not big action, not bold declarations, small, almost boring moments of choosing exposure over safety. Speaking before the sentence is perfect. Asking even when your voice shakes slightly. Starting something knowing it will be rough, not to prove anything, not to impress anyone, but to show your brain that embarrassment is survivable, that nothing collapses when you're not flawless. Because the moment you stop trying to protect your image, you finally give yourself room to grow. And that's the shift most people never make. They don't fail. They don't crash. They just live carefully, quietly, politely, under their own potential. So, if your life feels paused, if you feel capable but restrained, if you keep waiting for confidence that never arrives, this is why. You don't need more preparation. You don't need more insight. You need to let yourself look bad long enough to become better. And the longer you delay that decision, the more time fear gets to decide for you.